Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, Tribunal sacks Governor Sule, declares PDP's Umbogodo as Nasarawa State Governor. Bandits abduct district head, 8 others in Taraba State. Nigeria's first emeritus professor Umaru Shehu dies at 97. And away from Nigeria, ousted Niger leader Bazoum to file legal case against purchased. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour. I am Abdurrahman Umar. Now we begin from the judiciary. The governorship election petitions tribunal sitting in Lafia, Nasarawa State, has sacked incumbent governor Abdullahi Sule of the All Progressives Congress APC. The tribunal declared the governorship candidate of People's Democratic Party, David Umbogodo, as the duly elected governor of the state. Abubakar Abdullahi sent in this report as presented from our studio.
The National Independent Electoral Commission had declared Governor Sule Abdullahi of APC as the winner of the governorship election of March 18 in the state. Dissatisfied with the outcome of the said election, the candidate of PDP, David Umbogodo, filed a petition before the tribunal, arguing that he won the election instead of Governor Abdullahi. During trial, Umbogodo alleged that his votes were wrongly omitted during collation from polling units, wards, local government and other state collation centers, urging the tribunal to declare him the rightful winner of the election. His allegation of non-compliance with the Electoral Act were discountenanced by the Council of INEC, APC and Governor Sule. Reading the majority judgment, Chairman of the tribunal, Ezekiel Ajayi, who added and subtracted votes, declared that Governor Sule was not validly elected and that PDP candidate David Umbogodo scored the highest number of votes in the election. The tribunal ordered INEC to withdraw certificate of return from Governor Sule and issued same to the PDP candidate David Umbogodo, who according to the tribunal won the election. However, in a dissenting judgment, a member of the tribunal, Ibrahim Mashi, dismissed the petition on ground of lack of proof and contradictory statements from witnesses brought by the petitioner. He therefore affirmed the election of Governor Abdullahi Sule.
INEC declared Alhaji Sule as the governor of Nasarawa State. Dissatisfied with the judgment, the PDP and its candidates, Honorable Emmanuel David Umbogodo, approached the tribunal on the ground that Alhaji Sule was not duly elected by majority of lawful vote cast at the election. Rather, Umbogodo was the one who indeed secured the majority of lawful vote cast at the election.
The dissenting judgment held that the governor of Nasarawa State, who is the second respondent, Engineer A.A. Sule, is the winner of the March 18, 2023 governorship election, and that he won with 3,799 valid votes.
Trust TV gathered that both parties may appeal portion of the judgment deemed unfavorable to them.
In the meantime, Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule has called on his supporters to remain calm as he directed his legal team to appeal the ruling of the governorship election petition tribunal which overturned his election. Sule made the call while addressing supporters that turned up at the government house shortly after the tribunal gave its judgment. Governor Sule said he will appeal the lower court decision, urging the people of the state who turn up en masse to vote for him to remain calm. According to him, he still remains governor until the final determination of the case at the Supreme Court. The governor stated his resolve to continue with his development programs as if nothing has happened. Now, Rivers State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal has dismissed the petition of Tony Cole of the All Progressives Congress APC, challenging the election of Similai Fubara of the People's Democratic Party PDP as the governor of the oil-rich state. The tribunal dismissed the petition, saying that the APC that sponsored Cole had withdrawn the petition against the governor Fubara's victory. The tribunal sitting in Abuja had earlier dismissed the petition filed by the governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Rivers State, Petrus Itubo, and that of Innocent Eko and the Allied People's Movement, APM, for against the governor's victory for lacking in merit. It held that it held that Eku lacked the locus standi to institute the petition as he did not contest the Rivers State governorship election. We now have joining us via Zoom Mutiwa Kinsai, a legal practitioner and public affairs analyst, to speak with us on some recent upset at the election tribunals. Thank you for speaking with us. And now, the tribunal judgments in the past 2 weeks have recorded some major upsets. The Nasarawa State governor this afternoon was unseated. The Kano State governor suffered a similar fate about a week ago. There seems to be an aura of unpredictability surrounding these judgments. Is there consistency with the law and jurisprudence in these verdicts?
Thank you very much for having me. Let me begin by giving a caveat. I have not had the opportunity of reading the judgment that was delivered today. So what I will be speaking on this evening will be based on my knowledge of the law and the snippets that has been reported by various media outfits. It's important to note that after every election, the judiciary will always have a chance to look at the evidence that parties have submitted before it. And it is based on those evidence that the tribunal will decide whether the candidate that was announced by INEC had majority of lawful votes cast. And in this particular situation, the Nasarawa State situation, what the tribunal found was that Governor Abdullahi Sule did not win majority of lawful votes cast. And you would also see that it is only 2 members of the tribunal that held so, with 1 dissenting view. But of course, it does not mean that Dr. Abdullahi Sule would leave the seat of governor. He still has the next 21 days to appeal. And if he fails to appeal, or if he refuses to appeal within the next 21 days, he will have no choice than to vacate the seat of the governor of Nasarawa State.
Now, looking at the fact that the tribunal held that David Ombogado of the PDP had proved his case that his actual votes were unjustifiably reduced, while that of Abdullahi Sule of the APC was increased to 8 Sule to victory. Can this meticulous proven case be reversed at the appeal court?
So there is nothing that is impossible. We have seen instances where the decisions of the tribunal has been overturned at the Court of Appeal. You will recall that the Osun State gubernatorial election had a similar fate. The decision of the tribunal was overturned at the Court of Appeal and even at the Supreme Court. So there is nothing that is impossible. The justices of the Court of Appeal will still have a chance to look at the evidence that all of the parties brought before the tribunal. And they will have the opportunity of reviewing it to see whether the decision of the members of the tribunal was correctly entered.
Now, those that have lost cases have alluded to there being miscarriage of justice while we are seeing judgments being delivered virtually. Why is it difficult for political actors to accept verdicts in good faith and lawyers to be blamed for spurring their clients to appeal cases despite very detailed reasons given for such a verdict?
Okay, it's important to note that in appealing decisions of the courts of first instance, the tribunal in this case is a right that is constitutionally given to all of the parties. So I see really nothing wrong in the candidates who lost at the tribunal deciding to appeal. It's their right to appeal. But what is then wrong is, or are situations where they speak against the judiciary in unbecoming manners, or where they use words to disparage the judiciary or the tribunal. That is what we must all condemn. But it is their right to appeal, and they can appeal to the Court of Appeal and even up to the Supreme Court.
All right, finally, before we let you go, how would you rate these judgments and seeing that most cases are heading for appeal? What does that say about the strength of laws guiding elections in this country?
There is no doubt that our laws can still be improved upon. We hope to see a day where candidates will not even go to court. We hope to see a time in this country where INEC will accept results, will announce results, and such results will be acceptable to all Nigerians and to all of the candidates. Our laws are growing, and we have to keep improving on them. And one very important point I would also like to make is the issue of the virtual hearing. There's been debates on whether these judgments that have been delivered virtually are constitutional or not. And at this time, we will have expected the National Assembly to have also done a lot to amend the Constitution, particularly Section 36 of the Constitution, to also encompass virtual hearing that has become part and parcel of our judicial system. So our laws are growing, and we can only improve on what we have now.
All right, we were speaking there with Matthew Akinsanya, a legal practitioner on election tribunal judgment. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us this evening on NewsHour.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Now, moving on. The governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Ogun State, Ladia Deboto, on Monday rejected the verdict of the election tribunal dismissing his petition against Governor Dapo Abiodun. He described the ruling as disheartening and a big threat to democracy. The tribunal, in a judgment which lasted more than 11 hours on Saturday, dismissed the petition, saying it lacked merit. INEC had declared Abiodun after polling 276,298 votes, while Deboto scored 262,383, and B. Otibe of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, came a distant third with 94,754 votes. But the PDP and Deboto dragged Abiodun and APC before tribunal, alleging that the governor did not win the majority of votes cast during the March 18 governorship election. PDP and Deboto in the petition accused the INEC of non-compliance to the Electoral Act and corrupt practices. During the election, the petitioners also alleged that elections were disrupted by thugs in over 99 polling units, disenfranchising over 40,000 voters from participating in the election. But the judges held that the petitioners failed to prove allegations of non-compliance over voting, disenfranchisement of voters, non-qualification of second Abiodun, and corrupt practices during the polls beyond reasonable doubt. Now, the district head of Madam Alingora in the Ardo Kola local government area of Taraba State, Bello Alingora, and 8 others have been abducted. It was gathered that the armed bandits who were in their numbers stormed the village and operated for hours unchallenged. Residents of the area, Buba Alingora, told newsmen that the attackers arrived at the village around 9 in the evening and spent about 6 hours operating. He further explained that the whereabouts of the victims are still unknown, while the abductors are yet to contact their families, a situation he said has thrown them into fear. Similarly, another 11 persons were abducted in Joro Bakari village of Low local government area in the early hours of Monday. An eyewitness who confirmed the attack said the bandits were in significant numbers. When contacted, the State Police Public Relations Officer, SP Abdullahi Usman, said the command was not aware of the incident. The incident is coming barely 72 hours after the killing of a pregnant woman and abduction of many in Yerwan Abara village of Jalungo, local government area. Now, no fewer than 2 people have been killed and 6 others abducted, including traditional rulers, by fighters of the Islamic State of West Africa province, ISWAF, in the southern part of Borno State. Trustee Olatunji Omeren learned that ISWAF attacked a remote village of Brum, 20 kilometers along the Dambwa-Biu highway, where 2 traditional rulers were forcefully taken away after troops had killed an unspecified number of ISWAF in an ambush last Thursday in the area. An impeccable source said ISWAP fighters came back to the village and attacked it as revenge for leaking their movement to troops. Similarly, the fighters of ISWAP also attacked 2 villages on Sunday night, where 2 persons were shot dead and others sustained various degrees of injuries in Azir and Mugole villages, respectively. A member of vigilante group revealed that 5 persons were abducted by the invaders in the night. Meanwhile, members of vigilante group, otherwise known as Ensake, have attacked some nomadic communities after bandits killed 3 persons and abducted several others at Soro community in Binji local government area of Sokoto State. According to the local sources, the bandits invaded Soro community around 1 a.m. on Monday. Another source said normalcy was restored in the communities following the deployment of security operatives in the area. The spokesman of the Sokoto Police Command, ASP Ahmed Rufai, confirmed the attack, saying the Commissioner of Police and some senior officers were currently in the communities. Now, still on insecurity, no fewer than 9 persons were killed and 3 others injured in an attack by gunmen in a Vokol district of Basa local government area of Plateau State. The spokesperson of the State Police Command, DSP Alabo Alfred, who confirmed the incident, said security personnel had been deployed to the area to ensure law and order, adding that investigation was ongoing. Nikita Dani, a resident of the area who narrated how the incident occurred, told Daily Trust on Monday that the attack was carried out on Sunday night when some of the residents were sleeping. Dani added that despite calls put across to security personnel when the attackers arrived in the community, nobody came until Monday morning. He said the corpses of the deceased have been buried and called on the security agencies to do the needful to prevent further occurrence. Now, a group known as Concerned Citizens has staged a peaceful protest over recent rise in attacks by bandits in the northern parts of the country. During the protest in Kaduna, the group also demanded the immediate release of the female students of the Federal University Gusau abducted by armed bandits. Trust TV's Bella Musa has more on this.
Recently, bandits renew attacks on communities across the north, leading to the killing and kidnapping of many. The group is out to express their grievances over what it called the deterioration of security in the north.
Actually, we have a lot of challenges in northern Nigeria, especially banditry and oil subsidy removal, which has caused a serious damage to Nigerian citizens at all. So actually, we are calling the federal government to tackle insecurity within 24 hours. And then we are calling them to revise the price of petroleum from 620 naira to normal price 119 naira. And then we are calling them to wipe a VAT from the gas.
Another issue that dominated the protest was the kidnap of 3 female students of the Federal University Gusau.
Just innocent girls who went there to seek for education. I don't know what their fault is. I was once a student of Federal University Gusau, whereby I left due to some reasons, and I don't see their fault. The place is very, very insecure for education. The federal government, nor the state government, neither the local government is taking any action about what is happening there. We suffered a lot. I had to leave the school due to the insecurity that is happening there. Until date, I'm out of school.
The group advised the government to halt the renewed attacks and kidnapping of innocent citizens in the north.
Please, the government has to take an action, maybe the federal or the state government, or I think they should collaborate and do something about that. If not, I think the school will be shut down because there is no one that would take his or herself there while the place is not secure.
And I think the federal government and the legislation are no more taking the necessary action in securing this part of northern Nigeria.
So actually, the Nigerian government is not listening to the masses. I'm a victim of a banditry. I was adopted in last year, 2022, and spent over 197 days in captivity. Actually, when I came back, and then we give them a lot of advices, and either to take the dressing measure, and then fail about it to them.
The recent rise in the activities of bandits has become a concern to the region, with many calling for urgent government intervention. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
We now have joining us via Zoom Awal Abdullahi, a security expert, to shed more light on the resurgence of insecurity across the country. Thank you for joining us. Now, can you tell us why there is a resurgence of insecurity in all the non-clash points across the country? Is this as a result of failure on the part of the security chiefs?
Well, I would not say it is as a result of failure from the part of the security chiefs, because naturally it is not the security chiefs that are solely in charge of security or are monitoring the security activities. They are only heads. There are other branches and other structures that handle security matters. So you cannot just draw the line and say it is a failure from the security chiefs. Security is everybody's business. So all hands must be on deck to be able to handle security matters. First and foremost, for security to be effective, you needed to have credible information, not only credible information, but you need intelligence report, and that report must come as at the time it is needed, as at the time that is due. And as the report is coming in, it is the responsibility of the security agencies to take it up within the premises and within the parameter of the information, also to act swiftly to be able to solve problems as they come. But also the responsibility of the security chiefs is to ensure that the needed facilities is being provided for the men that are in the field. When I say needed facilities, first and foremost, you cannot fight insurgency or insecurity when you don't have sufficient arms and ammunition. And not just arms and ammunition, they need to be modernized, modern arms and ammunition, modern technological advancement in terms of fighting insurgency, banditry, guerrilla warfare, and what have you. And also the welfare and well-being of the security personnel themselves is equally very, very important, because you don't expect me to go to the field to sacrifice my life when I have a family, and I know that after I have gotten either injured or at the cost of serving my nation, I'm killed, then there's nobody to look after my family. That is one other very high responsibility. But on a general note, I think the government, most especially the recent past government, there's never in time of history of Nigeria that much money has been pumped into security architecture in terms of securing the nation, in terms of providing the necessary equipment, in terms of ensuring that whatever that is needed that the security agencies have, it has never happened in the history of this country that in the recent past. And also the present administration is a continuity of the past administration. So there's nothing new or nothing different in terms of that. And in any case, I think the bandit or the insecurity or the kidnappers or whatever you're going to call them, they are part and parcel of us. That was why I speak about intelligence, credible intelligence, and then collaboration and cooperation between security agencies and the general populace. Now, security agencies alone cannot handle this matter. They needed the cooperation, the understanding, the synergy of sister security agencies themselves and also the general public. Now, you needed stakeholders to be part and parcel of anything that is security. When I say stakeholders, you started from the community level. That is the lowest level. In my opinion, you needed to build what I will call community intelligence and information committee, where from the lowest level, where you have a school teacher, you have
some observers have identified states in which the insecurity seems to have taken hold and are attributing this to the fact that the governors in these states are new. Is there any credence in this observation?
Well, I want you to understand that even if the governors are new, those that are handling the security in the state are not new, because the governors are coming and going, but the security structure in the state has been there and will always be there. They were there before the coming of the governors. They will remain after the governors left. So the coming of new governors, I don't think is a yardstick for measuring whether there will be insecurity or succeeding in security architecture or failure in security architecture. The contribution in most cases of the governors is just to contribute logistic to the security agencies, because governors don't buy weapons. governor does not have the powers to control the security agencies. So they only contribute logistically and then providing the atmosphere, a peaceful atmosphere, a conducive atmosphere for the security agencies to work, to be able to succeed in terms of their work. So this is why I don't believe that the governors can just be blamed outrightly like that, because I repeat, before the coming of the present administration or the present governors, there were governors. In case of a state where the governors have served 8 years and left, it is new governors that have been elected. So it is just about synergy, it is about cooperation, it is about understanding, it is about credible intelligence, it is about the contribution, logistic contribution of the new governors. If you talk about the governors, this is just it.
All right, Mr.
But
Abdullahi,
security
how true is it that the bandits are regaining ground because political leaders are negotiating with bandits, insurgent kidnappers, and other criminals, and are giving these non-state actors resources to buy weapons?
Well, that is a very dangerous trend. I don't know why you have to negotiate with a bandit. This negotiation issue has taken place in the past, not once, not twice, not 3 times, and they never keep to their words. So if they don't keep to their words, why should you continue to negotiate with them? And I agree with you. When you negotiate with them, they naturally will be asking for a certain level of compensation and whatever. And those compensations come in cash. So they use such monies to go and acquire more weapons and then fight the state actors, or if you like, fight the security agencies. So one, I don't agree with the position of negotiating with bandit or banditry or kidnappers or criminals in their general terms, in terms of finding solution to security. I think I am of the position and of the opinion of the present Chief of Defense Staff and also the Chief of Army Staff, who says there is no negotiation place for criminals and criminality or bandit or banditry. I think the best to do is follow them to their den, to their hiding den, and fish them out. Yes, they are gaining ground because it's like the situation is being softened for them. They were under high firepower, but now it's like the firepower has been reduced, and so they are gaining more ground. They are recouping, they are reorganizing, they are rearranging, they are mapping out their own strategies, and they are coming back with full force. And if something is not done and done as fast as it can be done, then it means before you know what is happening, these guys can overcome us, because there's poverty, there's insecurity.
Before we let you go, how do you suggest security agencies confront these new challenges head on?
Why not? The security agencies have every power, they have every capacity, they have every capability to handle the security situation and handle it to the barest minimum. But believe me, it takes 2 to tango, like it's been said. Now, you needed the security agencies. I insist and continue to repeat this issue, that the security agencies alone cannot fight insecurity. They needed the cooperation, the synergy, the understanding, and the teamwork of other state actors. Community, this fighting in insecurity at the community level is the best form of fight, because the best form of defense is to attack. Now, before they attack you, you don't just go into defense. You go attacking them, find them wherever they are, fish them out, arrest them, get to know who are the people involved, arrest them, deal with them before they strike. If you allow them to strike, it is after striking before you now go after them. It means you are not fighting insurgency. You are just trying to defend yourself. And that is not good. In the security setting, the best you can do is get a criminal before he get to organize crime or carry out a crime. If you allow him to carry a crime before you go after him, you may end up not succeeding, not even getting him. And already the injured, the damage has been done. He has damaged the
we are speaking there
damage
with
in the people.
Abdullahi,
So
a security expert on the resurgence of insecurity across the country. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, moving on, President Bola Tinubu has approved 35,000 naira as a provisional wage award for all Treasury-paid federal government workers for a period of 6 months. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris announced this in a statement on Sunday in Abuja. He said that this followed consultations between the federal government and the leadership of the labor unions at the presidential villa. At the meeting, the federal government also pledged its commitment commitment to fast-track the provision of compressed natural gas (CNG) buses to ease public transportation occasioned by subsidy removal on PMS. The federal government also committed to the provision of funds for micro and small-scale enterprises, as well as waivers on VAT on diesel for the next 6 months. It also announced the payment of 75,000 naira to 15 million households at 25,000 naira per month for a 3-month period from October to December. In the meantime, the leadership of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC) are currently at the presidential villa meeting with the federal government amid an impending strike by organized labour. The Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC) say both unions have gone back to their organs to intimate them on the resolutions reached at Sunday's meeting with the federal government. Some of the resolutions include a provisional wage increase of 35,000 naira for all categories of federal workers for the next 6 months and suspension of VAT on diesel for the next 6 months, among others. In this report, Noel Samson speaks to a policy analyst and some Nigerians on their take on the concessions made by the federal government. His report.
At the meeting, the federal government agreed to commence payment of 75,000 naira to 15 million households at 25,000 naira per month for a 3-month period from October to December 2023. Government also committed to the provision of funds for micro and small-scale enterprises. Despite these commitments, many still wonder if these concessions will positively affect the bulk of Nigerians groaning under the economic hardship occasioned by the removal of fuel subsidy. Also on the lips of many is the thinking that should the strike be called off, will it amount to Labour being boxed into a corner?
From what we've heard and read, this is primarily targeting the workforce, the federal government workers. And I'm not sure federal government is in a position to, support all of the states. So, by and large, whatever is approved or agreed on with Nigeria labor unions cannot even affect the organized private sector. You cannot railroad them to say, okay, pay 35,000 on top of what you are giving your workers. And in negotiation, there is what is called win-win approach. So labor wins, government wins, no losing of face. But if in spite of what we were told after their 4 hours meeting on October 1, by the address by Femi Gbajabiamila, if labor does not suspend or call off their strike, then it will mean that they are politically motivated.
Nigerians on the streets of Abuja have different reactions concerning the concessions and whether the organized labor should call off the strike or proceed with it.
To my own opinion, they shouldn't call off the strike. And my reasons is this. For several occasions, governments have made promises to the masses, even to the workers, on how things will get better. But we keep seeing things increasing day by day. In fact, sometimes ago, I was listening to news. I see people dying even of hunger. So when you talk about going back, that they shouldn't go for the strike, I don't agree with that because government hardly keep to their promises.
I want the NLC to go on with the strike. The reason is that the 25,000 naira increment is for the federal government staff. We have the state government workers, we have the local government workers, and you know that in Nigeria, most of the labor forces is the private sectors. The private sectors are the ones suffering this. Most of the people that are being employed by the private sectors, their salary is very low.
You know, the continuation of strike will not help us as a Nigerian because it will affect so many things. What I think should happen is the negotiation. So we'll be the one to help all of us.
Nigerians are waiting to know if the organized labor will suspend the strike or proceed as planned. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming off after the break. Abuja residents express happiness over Boasment price reduction. Details of these and more after the break. Do stay with us.
That's right. You too could be one of the 20 Zenith Bank customers that will win 150,000 Naira every 2 weeks from June 1st, 2023 until May 31st, 2024 in the Zenith Better Life Promo 3. To qualify, simply open a Zenith Bank account. For more information, visit www.zenithbank.com/betterlife. Live the better life with Zenith Bank.
That's great.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is the News Hour on Trust TV, and here is a recap of some of our top stories. Tribunal sacks Governor Sule, declares PDP's Umbogodo as Nasarawa State Governor. And government kidnapped district head, 8 others in Taraba State. Now, moving on. The current negotiations between the government and organized labor have been described as exclusive if they do not carry the rest of Nigerians along. The 5th Wazir in Katsina suggests that the bargaining should be for all Nigerians and not for public and civil servants. He was speaking in an exclusive interview with Trust TV News in Katsina. Abdullahi Ahmadi has more on this.
Professor Sani Luga said there are over 220 million Nigerians suffering from abject poverty who need the support and palliatives the federal government is providing to ease the effects of fuel subsidy removal. The 5th Wazir in Katsina maintained that a situation where only federal government workers are targeted for the special grant is grossly inadequate under the current harsh economic realities.
According to official statistics, there are only 720,000 federal government workers, which means they are less than a million. And there are about 46 million workers in Nigeria, in the private sector, in the local governments, in the state governments, which means just less than a million workers will be benefiting out of 46 million salaried workers and out of 224 million Nigerians. This is certainly unfair to Nigerians. Therefore, the negotiations should center on how to alleviate the sufferings of Nigerians and not only the suffering of Nigerian workers.
He said the generality of the Nigerian people are suffering from high cost of living, with many already malnourished.
The leaders of the Nigerian workers should constitute themselves into bargaining on behalf of Nigerians, not only on the workers of Nigeria. The federal government should realize that at least now there is a leadership of NLC and TUC, so there is a leadership that you can speak to. But if the situation degenerates into a Nigerian-wide protest, then there will be no leadership to speak to, just as the issues of Boko Haram and banditry seem to be continuing simply because there is no central leadership to discuss and negotiate with.
The Wazir in Katsina also prayed for Allah's intervention and guidance for the leaders and the led in overcoming insecurity bedeviling in some communities in Katsina and Nigeria as a whole. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
And now, in a sad development, a renowned professor of medicine, Umar Shehu, is dead. His death was announced by Borno Elders Forum in a statement. The statement said he died on Monday morning at the age of 97 years old. Here is a brief profile of the late professor.
Professor Shehu was born in Maiduguri on 8 December 1930 in the then Borno province, now Borno State, northeastern Nigeria. Until his death, Professor Umaru Shehu held several positions including Vice Chancellor of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Deputy Vice Chancellor and Pro-Vice Chancellor at ABU, Zaria, and held the esteemed role of the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the Governing Council at both Bayero University, Kano, and University of Lagos. He also served as the sole administrator of University of Maiduguri, among many other significant contributions to the academic community. He attended elementary school in Maiduguri from 1935 to 1940, followed by middle school from 1941 to 1943. From 1944 to 1947, he studied at Kaduna College in Zaria and then proceeded to University College Ibadan from 1948 to 1953. He also spent time at the University of Liverpool in two separate periods, between 1953 and 1956, and again from 1966 to 1967. He obtained his medical degree from the University of London in 1957. After completing his medical education, Professor Shehu began working as a pre-registration house surgeon at the Southport Infirmary in the United Kingdom. Later that same year, he returned to the government of Northern Nigeria and served as a pre-registration house physician. Awards and recognition. Professor Umaru Shehu is mentioned in Who is Who in the World, Men of Achievement, a Dictionary of International Biography, Africa Yearbook 1977, Who is Who in Africa, Who is Who in Nigeria, and a Dictionary of African Biography. In 1979, the Nigerian government awarded him the Commander of the Order of the Niger, and in 2000 he was awarded Commander of the Federal Republic. He left behind his immediate family. Bitrus Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
May his soul rest in peace. Now, mixed reactions have continued to trail President Tinubu's 63rd Independence Anniversary speech, especially his promise of 35,000 naira wage top-up for federal government workers. In Bauchi State, the president's broadcast came amidst fears by many residents as the organized labor threatens an indefinite industrial action beginning from Tuesday, 3rd October, if cares not taken. Adamu Imam monitored the development and now reports.
In his first October Independence Day broadcast, President Tinubu announced the 6 months provisional wage increment to reduce the hardship occasioned by hike in the prices of essential commodities the country has ever witnessed. This is addition to the payment of 75,000 to 15 million households at 25,000 per month for a 3-month period from October to December 2023. Some Nigerians are concerned on the potential of these commitments towards alleviating the problems Nigerians are currently facing. We are appealing to the President to ensure that any palliatives shared should reach the Nigerian masses who collectively voted him. If he only focuses on workers, what about those unemployed people? They are not part of the suffering. They are part of this country. So let the palliatives include others outside the payroll of government.
We're talking about how to make an everlasting policies that will pave way for Nigerians to become self-reliant, self-independent. By virtue of making 25%, you are still putting us to be dependent, to depend on you. And depending on you would not yield any result.
It's a good speech, but we need them to walk the talk. It's easy to talk, and then it is something else to do. So we are waiting to see how they are going to implement that policy. And again, that's just for the labor, the Nigerian labor, which are less than 2% of the population. What do they have to do for the rest of the 98% population that are not really government workers?
Billy also shared his thought on the impending strike action bill to commence on Tuesday by the workers' union if both parties fail to reach a compromise.
Yes, they are pursuing their own plans and agendas, but this thing has to be holistic. Because very soon after labor, the ASU will say they are doing their own, medical workers will say they are doing their own. You can see the fragment almost everywhere. There is fault lines almost everywhere in the country.
They, however, allege that such commitments are likely to favor few individuals instead of the majority of citizenry who are struggling to feed on a daily basis. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Residents of Imo State are calling on the federal government and security agencies to prevail on the Imo State Governor Senator Hope Uzodimma to desist from what they term his act of vendetta on members of opposition party in the state. Adibadi Press has the rest of the story.
This is the residential home of one of the chieftains of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Henry Madwakolam. According to him, the destruction done to his building is one of the activities of the hoodlums allegedly doing the dangerous and desperate biddings of the incumbent governor, who is bent on weakening the opposition in the state. He said they are doing this under the guise of Owerri Capital Development Authority, OCDA. Narrating her experience in the hands of the hoodlums when they came with a bulldozer to demolish the building, Madwakolam's wife said it was a tragic moment for her and her family.
They said that from Imo State government that sent them. I said, for what? What have we done? Is there any crime we committed? I'm a citizen of Imo State, citizen of Nigeria. Is there any crime? The policeman was ranting, screaming, shouting, if I didn't get here now, he would shoot me. That I should move back. Everybody that came out in the streets, they are driving them with gun.
On his part, Henry Madwakolam said no amount of intimidation will make him back out from supporting his party to victory. While condemning the act, he urged the authorities to call the incumbent governor to order. They opined that Nigeria is a multi-party system and the governor should not be allowed to perpetrate acts capable of jeopardizing the already fragile peace of the state.
When has it turned to a crime for somebody to be a member of a political party? Must everybody be in one party, for goodness sake? Must everybody be in one party? Politics of intimidation will not help our state. It will not.
We are not in one man party in Imo State, in the whole Nigeria. We have opposition, we have the main party. What's the problem? I just even don't know. I was traumatized, shooting me with gun, with my aged father. Oh God.
The group also proceeded to a business premises belonging to another PDP chieftain, Evangelist Mike Ikoku, and pulled down his back gate and harassed the workers there. This current attack is the third one in less than 6 months this year, a scenario the manager of the business said is very unhealthy for development.
On this lane, we have about 14 bars. At every time they want to attack is this place first. And if they want to remove anything, they don't do it in a gentleman way. They just come, destroy. It's because of politics. Politics should not affect the business. So many people are working inside here.
When contacted, the Commissioner for Information in the state said the claims may not be true and promised to investigate the matter. In the meantime, it is hope that the government at the federal and other powers that be will look into the matter with a view to calling the perpetrators to order. Ajibade Praise, Trust TV News, Owerri.
Nigerians have expressed happiness with the reduction of prices of cement in the country. Trust TV's Kabir Lomar, who spoke to a cross-section of Nigerians in Abuja, has more.
Nigerians, especially business owners, are heaving a sigh of relief following the recent reduction in the price of Boa cement, which, according to people, will go a long way in improving the standard of living in the country.
One of the impediments that has always hindered people from owning whether private property or commercial property has always been, among other factors, has also been the issue of the cost of cement. Apart from the cost of land, cement is the other item that takes a chunk of the cost of construction.
Dealers in building materials also said the impact of the cement price review will pave way for the reduction in the exchange rate of dollars.
What needs is a way to make sure that dollar crash down, even to 700 naira or 6 something. It will make most of the things come down, and people will be patronizing people. People will start their projects once again.
Some residents further explained that with this move, it will create an avenue for employment for the youths in the country.
I myself, I stopped building since 2 years and because of this cement of something. Because I started buying cement when I started my work when cement was 1,007, from 1,007 to 5,000 something now. So it's not something to talk about. But this very one, when I just got this current good news in this country concerning what BUA have done about reducing this very price of cement, it gives me so joy, and a lot of Nigerians, we are just so happy about that. In fact, it makes me start to work back.
Graduate who sells block as a means of livelihood called on the government to extend the gesture to other sectors to enable youth cash in and contribute their quota towards the development of the country.
Before now, if you have someone that will supply you directly from the factory, they are talking of 4,750
per bag.
Per bag. But if you are buying from containers, that is the retailers, they are talking of 5,000 plus. So you can see that the margin is different, and it's really affecting our business. In fact, I am so happy. If they will be able to achieve this, I'm telling you, I will be the happiest man. The price has come down. We will now sit with our customers to see how we can, do a business that will support everybody.
It can only affect us that have old stock, because you cannot buy cement the rate of 4,000 something and now still sell it 3,500 or 3,800. It's not possible. So they need to wait for us to finish our old stock because if we start selling that, it will affect our own too.
Residents further called on stakeholders in critical sectors of the economy to do the same in order to provide enabling environment for the development in the country. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
This is Trust TV News Hour. And now let's join Chamong Debang for Business News Update.
11 banks listed on the floor of the Nigerian exchange generated 89.05 billion naira from account maintenance charges in the half year of 2023. This is according to data extracted from the half-year financial statements of these listed commercial banks in the Nigerian stock. According to the Central Bank of Nigeria, the account maintenance fees are charged on current accounts only in respect of customer-induced debit transactions to third parties and debit transfers and lodgements to the customer's account in another bank. Banks' earnings from account maintenance charges, though low when compared to other revenue streams, still make up a significant portion of their non-interest income. The federal government says it will waive the value-added tax, VAT, on diesel for the next 6 months as part of measures to cushion the impacts of the removal of the petrol subsidy. The waiver is part of the resolution reached by the federal government and leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, and Trade Union Congress, TUC, at the end of a 4-hour meeting held at the State House on Sunday. Speaking at the end of the meeting with the leaders of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, and Trade Union Congress, TUC, at the State House, Abuja, the leader of the federal government delegation and chief of staff to the president, Femi Gbajabiamila, said the government team and the Labour leaders have reached some resolution. That's all for business news. I am Chamun Dabe.
In the meantime, a former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Dizaini Alison Maduke, has been arraigned before the Westminster's Court in London over bribery allegations. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, says. The FCC, in a statement on Monday by its acting head of media and publicity, Dele Oyawale, welcomed the arraignment with keen interest. The anti-graft agency said although the charges preferred against her at the London court are diametrically different from the 13-count charges bordering on money laundering the FCC has raised against her. It is instructive to note that criminality is criminality, irrespective of jurisdictional differences. The money laundering charges for which Maduke is answerable to the EFCC cover jurisdictions in Dubai, United Kingdom, United States of America, and Nigeria. The FCC said to bring the former minister to trial in Nigeria, an arrest warrant has been obtained and extradition proceedings have been initiated. Now, away from Nigeria, lawyers for Nigeria's ousted president say they are filing a legal case in the West African country against those behind the coup that deposed the democratically elected leader. The lawyers for Mohamed Bazoum, who was overthrown on July 26 and has since been detained, also said in a statement they were appealing to the UN Human Rights Council. The complaint is aimed at new strongman General Abdurrahmani Tiani and all others. It constitutes a civil action and alleges attack and conspiracy against state authority, crimes and offenses committed by civil servants, and arbitrary arrest and confinement. It is expected to be lodged in the next few days with a court in the capital, Niamey, one of the lawyers, Dominic Ntriptesa, told AFP. The lawyers also said they were appealing to two bodies of the UN Human Rights Council, including its working group on arbitrary detention. Ntriptesa said the coup was an infringement on the dignity of the Nigerian state and reaffirmed the absolute necessity to restore the rule of law. On sports, let's join Emmanuel Feshemi for Sports Update.
The nation's senior men's basketball team, the Tigers, has been selected to play in the China Autumn Tour 2023. Nigerian Basketball Federation (NBBF) on Sunday released the list of 11 players that will represent the country and coached by Mohamed Abdurrahman. The team will be back in action for the first time since their ouster from the Olympic qualifying tournament staged in Nigeria. The list of invited players by NBBF includes Afowakwe Michael, Okiki Victor Eze, Timothy Kwao, Ibe Agu, Michael Daramola, Chinedu Chimbun, Wisdom Anyaoha, Nnoruka Francis, Chris Obekpa, Kingsley Onyekachi, and Gaba Chinka. The tour will be played across different cities in China as the Tigers departed Nigeria for the Fiesta to be concluded on 20th October 2023. In football, the African Nations Championship CHAN 2024 tournament may be cancelled due to incapacity of CAF to get a venue for the competition. Home-based Teranga Lions of Senegal emerged champions in 2022 after beating host Algeria in the finals via penalties. The qualifiers was initially scheduled to be played in September, but as no country was ready for the hosting, African Soccer ruling body CAF postponed the qualifying round indefinitely. Democratic Republic of Congo and Morocco are the most successful teams in this tournament with 2 titles each. According to a report, no country yet in the continent has indicated interest of hosting the biennial event. And that is it on sports. I am Emmanuel Fashemi.
And with that, we have come to the end of the News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and our YouTube live stream for more news, program, and documentary. I am Abdurrahman Omar. Good night for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.